Hey Ingrid,
Hey, how are you?
good. How are you?
Good.
Long time no see.
I know. This will be nice to see everybody's face, hopefully.
I know. Hopefully everybody has like used Zoom before. I'm sure they have.
Yeah, nobody said anything about it to me, so I assume people have been using it.
Yeah,
I don't know if Jim Littlefoot will join us, but
right.
we
Well,
are streaming live on YouTube now, apparently.
so no swearing.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you're going to talk about it, but is the survey complete for?
Yeah, the community survey is done. Julie is putting together a summary of the results right now,
Okay.
but we had 500 responses.
No, that's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. The past month has been crazy for me, so I've missed the last couple meetings, but I'll get back into it now.
cool. Yeah, how's your work going?
It's good. We were all of April and a little bit of March, we were in the shutdown for the Catskill Aqueduct.
Uh-huh.
So it's, 7 days a week, like, 12, 14 hours a day. So
Wow.
yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's good while it lasts. So
Yeah. There are two more of those shutdowns, right?
one I know is still planned for October, and then there's talk of another one, but I don't know if it's been confirmed yet.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
yeah.
I'm gonna try to look at the map Amanda sent quickly.
Yeah, I saw that as I was getting on.
Hey, so let me see. Admit. Oh, Amanda. Sorry, you were muted.
Okay, there you go.
Here you go.
Well, Kenji got a beard during
Whoa.
shutdown.
Yeah.
I don't think he can hear us.
Oh, he's got the quarantine beard going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think he can hear us.
I don't think he can. Maybe, yeah, I wonder if he's.
The joys of online communication.
Yeah.
So he's muted, but maybe not.
Kenji, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Great.
It took a few minutes to figure it out, but yeah.
Cool.
We're admiring your new look.
Oh, my quarantine beard? Yeah, it was trendy. So, trying to impress my children with my ability to look older.
That always helps.
Yeah. I didn't seem ancient enough. So,
So Ingrid, are you streaming this on YouTube at the same time?
Yeah, we're on YouTube Live right now.
oh, okay.
Is anyone watching? Can you tell?
I just opened it. No.
No. That's all right.
Okay, I have to close it because there's a delay on it. Like So it's saying what we said like a couple, 20
Yeah.
seconds ago.
Right.
It's pretty disconcerting.
Yeah.
All right, it didn't look like anyone was watching, but I couldn't tell. I think it would normally say how many people are watching.
Yeah,
That's
when I
probably-
watched last night, I watched the American Ballet Theater and they showed like 3,000 people were signed up and it had that stupid delay. So their voices kept
Oh,
switching.
sorry,
Like
people are waiting.
the girls sounded like
Moment.
guys and the guys sounded like girls because they were dragging. Hey, all right.
Hello. Okay, I'll unmute you guys.
No. Hello,
There we
everyone.
go. Hi. How are you guys?
Good.
Outdoors, that's the place to be. It's a nice day today.
I've learned in these meetings, the best thing is just to be quiet and wave and nod my head. Unless it's a specific question, I just keep quiet.
That's not going to save you from getting volunteered for something, Yoni.
Yeah.
I second his volunteering.
What will
Let's-
you have me do? Making masks. I could do that.
Oh, that's very good skill to have.
How's your research going?
Oh, it's overwhelming. I'm feeling just overwhelmed. But you keep going. How about you? How are you managing? It must be very strange not being at the DC.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got like circle time and music class going on here and a lot of Play-Doh and pretend.
I should try that with my
Other
boys.
Yeah, yesterday I was in staff meeting and my child was like jumping up and down like a frog behind me, doing something her teachers were telling her to do.
You gotta teach the kids how to do data entry, and you're all set.
Am I the only guy not growing a beard?
You might be. Oh no, yeah, Rich done that one. Yeah.
Way to go, Rich. Why
Yeah.
can't I see Rich? Right. Oh, there you go.
My oldest daughter took family pictures on, well, shoot, just 2 nights ago, and put them on Facebook. And the first comment was from my mom saying, "Ted, what are you doing with a beard?" Sorry, Mom. I'll shave right now.
Shave once the world's back to normal, right?
All right.
All right, Janelle is joining.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're all here. Well, no, except for Jim, I guess. Yeah, Jim did not tell me whether or not he was going to try to join. Something makes me feel he may not be a Zoom video chat person. But, hey, Janelle.
Hi,
Janelle's taking a walk.
I'm taking
Oh.
a walk. I'm sitting down.
So we are streaming live to YouTube right now. And I don't know if I should also record this meeting, but I think since that's working, I don't need to record it.
Why is it streaming live? It's just a closed, just us though, right?
It's just us, yeah.
Yeah.
That's anyway, that's kind of the way the town has set it up for, if we're having public meetings to allow the public to participate. And people can send in comments via email,
Mm-hmm.
but there's not a way to comment live, like during the live feed. So anyway, I think we can get started, but I need a volunteer to be our secretary for this meeting.
No, Rex.
I assume you mean Kenji.
The
Well,
sounded
since
like
we're all at a computer, so nobody's got to.
Right. The connection's really bad. I couldn't hear that last bit. Sorry. It's I think I'm traveling across time zones. All right, I can take the notes.
Thank you, Kaji. All right, so I'll call this meeting to order at 7:35. You know what? Maybe for good measure, should I record it? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
I think we just did this with the villages last night, and all we did was live, not
Okay.
recorded.
All right.
I don't know if that's worth it, but I mean, I think intrinsically by YouTube, it gets recorded. So
we're not normally recorded. Like they record the town board, the planning board, and they put it on TV. Nobody records us.
I'm going to record it just in case, because one other item of open meetings law with the executive order that the governor passed at the beginning of this crisis is that there needs to be a transcript, like a full transcript of the public meeting. And there is a way of getting that from Zoom, but I suspect you may need a recording for that function to work. So just to repeat, I called the meeting to order at 7:35 p.m. And we have in attendance myself, Ingrid Heckel, Rich Whitney, Kenji Tierney, Yoni or Jonathan Schwartz, Ted Nitza, Susan Stessen, Rose Rudnitsky, and Janelle Piotr, and Amanda Gatto, our planning board liaison. So I didn't receive any public comments. Before we jump into the planning board update, maybe just a quick, how are y'all doing? How's everyone coping with this situation?
I'll start. Yeah. I'm doing fine. Work is ongoing for me, so life hasn't changed too much. Hope everybody else, everyone's been healthy, their family's been healthy, but on my end, family's been healthy, I've been healthy, so that's what's going on.
For me, I'd say thank God for gardening, because every day that grounds me literally. Lots of gardening is a salvation.
I teach at Mercy College, which is based in Westchester, Manhattan, in the Bronx. And so we went online. I had 5 people pass away in one of my classes. And so that was definitely an epicenter. And we just had our last video meeting tonight. It's been a very emotional semester. But
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it really hit a lot of people. And when one of my students knew the 7-year-old boy who died of coronavirus in Westchester, his mother was a nurse, his father was a doctor, and they probably brought it home, and so now they have to live with that. So it's a real tragic time. But I'm trying, and I just had the class. I'm a little bit emotional. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, Rose. Yeah.
I think I said, I'm just doing my research. Our boys are back in town. One from Halifax, one from California. It's weird to have a full house again, but it's been a lot of fun. We're doing well.
That's great. Susan?
I'd been sewing for about 5 weeks now, mask making and scrub hat making. And I took a break this week because I needed some R&R. And then my sister went to the hospital today, and she's got pneumonia, fever, and coughing. So she's very overweight and very compromised. So we're waiting. It takes 2 days at Kingston Hospital to get a result, whereas it takes 2 hours at Vassar. So waiting to find out. So if I get up or if the phone rings or something, I'm just dealing with this. She's emotionally disturbed as well. So it's just, she's terrified. I know that. So.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be terrified in this moment if you're in that situation?
Yeah.
Well, I think I'll go. It's now day 41 since we've been away from the office in Long Island. We had a staff meeting, talked about how this was starting to affect us, and we haven't been in the office since. So been working at home, but my garden sanity, Janelle, is this office that I'm working in. It was just a forgotten corner of the basement, and so on the weekends and sometimes at night we've been remodeling it, putting together. What's behind me is the prototype of it's a barn, barn type door. The rails and everything are legit, but it's just hanging with a blanket right now just to make sure the measurements are in the right place. But that's how that's my gardening has been, actually inside here working on this office space.
I installed a new floor in my living room and all the trim and painted. I mean, what else do you do when you're at home? You're teaching, you do research, and to clear your brain, you put in a floor.
Yep.
On that note, I started a construction company. It's called Quarantine Construction LLC. And I actually put it on my nail apron, and I've been using recycled materials from underneath our deck, old deck boards, old windows, and I made it actually a pretty nice greenhouse right on our deck, which has been awesome. And redid a wellhead cover and a whole bunch of things. So it does feel good to do nice concrete projects. There's a finished thing to look at. Yeah, therapeutic.
Yeah, we've been trying to build a firewood shed on our property, and realized that you actually need a building permit for that in New Paltz. So we've been dealing with that.
How big a shed is this?
Yeah.
Not that big. It's going to be like maybe like 120 square feet.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've been working on some holes in the ground.
Having put in a shed, I think it's 10 by 10. Anything bigger than 10 by 10, you need a permit.
Chop off 20 feet and you're good.
Yeah. Too late now. Well, anyone else want to add anything, or? Well, all right. Well, let's move along then. So Amanda, perhaps you can give us an update from the planning board. I know there hasn't been any meetings since February.
Right. Our last meeting was the end of February, and part of it was because in the beginning of March, nobody knew what to do or how to meet, and I was like, I'm not going and meeting face to face, but the applicants have all not been coming forth either. So we still have active projects. We still have applications that are, in progress, but they haven't been back. They haven't brought anything new to us. The last thing that happened was with the Homeland Towers, the 5G towers. They did that balloon test. Finally, it wasn't noticed very well. The first one and the canceling of the first one was noticed pretty well. And then when they finally went ahead, I'm not sure how many people knew about it, but and so I don't know if any of y'all tried to take a look, but I drove all around town, and unless you were pretty much right there on the street, you couldn't see it. It's far back from the road, and just the way the topography is, it's not it was not going to be particularly visible. So from that standpoint, but they need to present a report on that to the planning board. We haven't received it, and I'm not sure what else. And there's this clock business with these wireless communication things. They come under different category of requirements, and I'm not sure if this clock got initiated or not, because I think we felt that the time they brought the application, it wasn't complete. And there may be some difference of opinion on that, but if the clock starts and the planning board doesn't take any action, it automatically gets approved. So I really don't know what's going on with that one. We're gonna have to, I guess, find out when we find. But there is right now, the next meeting is scheduled for, It would have been May 25th, but that's Memorial Day, so it's the following Thursday, May 28th. And apparently we are anticipating having at least one project, the long lost Rose Lane, Hippolyta, cut down all the tree, you know, have no idea what it is he's sending us. So as soon as I get any information, I'll pass it along. But so right now, my understanding is there will be a meeting on May 28th.
So it would be great to have a liaison who can attend that meeting, and I would ask Pat to invite that liaison to the Zoom meeting so that you could potentially comment. Is anyone willing to do that on May 28th?
I am, or Rose can certainly go if she wants. But I think it was getting to be my turn anyway. So I will go, or certainly Rose could go, or we both could be invited.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I take special interest in that project. So maybe when that's on, I'd like to, you know, listen in as well, if I could be part of that meeting as well.
Frankly, you know, because you're all members of the public, you ought to be, and ours is broadcast typically, so you ought to be able to watch it.
Yeah,
It'll be
I'd
the
like
same
to.
as this, where you'll be able to watch it on YouTube.
Okay, I'd like to, since I told you my husband built a house and everything, I'm kind of interested in what he's doing there.
And certainly once we get any, whatever it is the applicant sends, and we share it, you know, I always make sure it gets to Ingrid, it can get shared with you guys. If you have comments or questions that you want, you know, to send in writing ahead of time or as an email ahead of time, or ask me to, you know, bring up, you know, that's what this is all about, is a liaison. So we can, you know, once we see what it is the guy's proposing, because I think the way it was left was not very clear that he was gonna plant trees, he wasn't gonna plant trees, he was gonna clear the stumps, he wasn't gonna clear this, you know, it was very not clear to me what was gonna happen there. So.
I'll forward the letters we sent Ted so that you have that information, and I'll let Pat know to invite you. And then maybe we should also set a liaison for Monday, June 8th as well, which would be the next meeting after that if it's held.
Right. So just to remind you guys, what are the open projects are Friedlanders. You know that one, which is
Yeah, we already signed off. We have no further comments on that.
okay. And then, you know, I mean, Trans Hudson and Wildberry are still out there, and good old Shooting Clay, whatever, Mid Hudson Shooting Clay. So those are still active projects. They're, you know, still, they could come back at any time with something or other. So we'll just wait and see.
But any of those four, though, you haven't heard anything official? No
Not
word since
officially.
February? Okay.
Nope. In fact, most of those we hadn't heard from them. I don't remember the last time we heard.
But, yeah.
So Rose, do you want to?
With everything on pause, will there be an extension of the timeline? Because it sounds like people are not meeting, they're not going to their offices.
But I think May 19th, as far as what I've heard from my husband, I think construction is about to be allowed around May 19th again. So
You mean
can
phase
verify
one
that.
for Mid Hudson? Phase one reopening for Mid Hudson?
Yeah, I think isn't it May 19th?
You know, we have 5 of 7 requirements, so I don't know when we get.
Yeah, I've read that the earliest for the Mid Hudson would be May 24th at this point.
Just ask my husband because he's a contractor. He's been kind of keeping up with this. Hold on a second.
Well, you know, I was really surprised that Dunkin' Donuts opened because you know,
It's a
we
restaurant.
don't meet the criteria.
You can get takeout there, right?
I think they opened the doors.
Yeah.
That's the
I
thing.
mean, that's how the restaurants in New Paltz are. You can walk in and pick up your takeout. You do not have to have them come out to the curb. You can go in and get it.
They just
But
have to
you can't
close off the
sit there.
tables. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't sit there and eat, but you can go in and pick something up and walk out. But my understanding, one of the things that's holding us up is the number of active cases per 1,000. We are like number 3 behind New York and Long Island, the Mid Hudson region. So there's still a lot of active cases here, and until we get below 2 per for 100,000 of the whole. So that's us, Dutchess. I mean, you know, it's Rockland. It's a big lot of people where there's a lot of action going on. So I don't know how anyone can predict when that number is gonna go down.
Yeah, he said he wasn't sure about that date, that it may have been a little after that. That was the first date that he had heard, but
Yeah.
right, it may be a little bit after that.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about, you know, projects that were in the middle of, houses that were in the middle of, like things. I know it's been really hard because they're things that were open that had to be closed in, whatever. I kept, you know, for a long time, the place on 32, that big giant monster, the net zero building that keeps getting taller and taller, that people were working at for quite a while. And I think we mentioned something to Stacy about that there were workers there on top of each other, you know, they were, and then she finally, I think she closed it down. I forgot when it was, but she finally had to go and close it down because they were not leaving on their own.
Yeah, we had a project on Albany Post where they came in and actually initiated construction. Nothing had been there, and there was all kinds of equipment and clearing. And then finally one day I saw the town vehicle there, and I think they haven't. There's nobody been there since then. So.
I do have to say the thing that's really upsetting is going through town, driving, and seeing all the construction from Ulster County Construction and like they were electric companies, like right before the bridge by Water Street. And all of the men were standing there talking to each other, the construction workers without masks on, right next to each other. And I've seen that twice now, you know, 2 days ago, and then a few days before that too, all on top. Like,
well, let's just to keep moving along, for June 8th, Rose, are you good with volunteering for that date? And if there's a meeting? Yeah. Okay. So I'll let Pat know those two things.
Great.
So I'm going to give just some quick updates. Nothing has happened with the critical environmental areas proposal since mid-March. I guess the last public hearing where people were in person must have been around March 14th or something. Was that it, right? I forget. Maybe it was the week before that.
I think it was before that.
Well, it was the week before that. It was March 5th. The public hearing is still technically open, but I don't think they've received anything. They're not, they haven't figured out a way to hold these live public hearings with allowing people the ability to speak on a video conference. Other communities are doing that. So it is possible. And at some point the town is going to have to begin holding public hearings again. So you may have watched the video I shared from DEC about Woolworthing CEAs. I shared that. I don't really know what's going to happen. You know, I haven't heard anything from the town board members, and the last, you know, where things were left was that we were supposed to have a meeting with David Brownstein and the planning board attorney and Adele, and I don't know how or when that's going to happen. So at this point, I just don't know what to tell you. And I'm, you know, that based on how busy we are with the community preservation work right now, I'm also reluctant to try to push it more at this moment. But I do want to keep reminding them of it. And if you guys have any other ideas about what we should be doing, let me know. An attorney I know, Emily Svensson, who some of you may have heard speak before, she has offered to write comments on behalf of the proposal and you know, in support of it. And but she wants to wait to submit any comments until the town board would hear them in a live hearing. So any thoughts on that?
Oh, it sounds like we're still where we were with that the last town meeting, right? So you never got a chance to meet with everybody, all the interested parties. Yeah. So.
No. Yeah. All right. Well, a lot has been happening on the community preservation front. the Community Preservation Task Force has been meeting every 2 weeks. We switched over to meeting via Zoom in March, and the town board authorized the expenditure of kind of right before everything hit to hire Ted Fink, who is an environmental planner, to write the community preservation plan. The town should be receiving a Hudson River Valley Greenway grant that will cover most of the expense of that plan. There's a volunteer match component to that grant. So Ted got started with us at the end of March, and we're working on a very accelerated time frame or schedule, because we're trying to get our goal is eventually to have a referendum on the ballot in the November election to establish a community preservation fund through a real estate transfer tax. And in order to do that, the community preservation plan has to be adopted by the town board at least 60 days before the election. So at the latest by the very beginning of September. And so right now we've been moving very quickly ahead. I'm working as a volunteer on the GIS analysis for the plan. So I put together all the data for different prioritization criteria that include water resources, habitat and natural areas, agricultural lands, scenic areas, recreation lands and trails. We have also historic properties and open space areas. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but put together all that data. We're doing a parcel level analysis for all of the properties in the town to identify properties that would be eligible for such funding for potential protection or acquisition if that ballot measure passes. The plan is, so we're going to be doing a presentation at the town board meeting next Thursday on May 21st, and I encourage you guys to listen to that presentation for the update. The plan will hopefully be completed by the beginning of May or of June. And in the month of June, it'll be reviewed by the town board and the public and get some feedback and make revisions. The final plan will be hopefully ready by the beginning of July. A public hearing would hopefully be set for July 16th. And then the town board will hopefully be adopting that plan in early August. So things have been moving forward really quickly. We completed that community survey that we were developing the last time around we met. We sent out the postcard to about 1,400 people in the town. We also made the survey available online to anyone, and we got about 500 responses, which was our goal. And we didn't get very much response via the postcard, unfortunately, which was our random sample. I think we ended up with like 125 or 130 responses from the postcard group, but overall, still a good response. And in the meantime, well, yeah, so that's Julie Seifert-Lillis has been summarizing the results of that survey and putting together a short summary, which will be available soon. And so we'll be presenting that as well as kind of an introduction to the community preservation plan at that town board meeting next week. So that's kind of where things are with that. Yeah, Amanda?
So Ingrid, does your plan include where the money is coming from, or is that something the town board has to come up with on their own?
The plan is the foundation for establishing the real estate transfer tax.
Okay. So it's in there already. That's the concept.
Yeah.
Okay.
It also does an evaluation of the other land use alternatives, kind of existing parts of the code and tools available to the town to help protect community character. And
so have you done the financials on what the proposed percent would be and what level of transaction it would hit and whether it's commercial and residential, you know, all these things are going to have a jillion questions about, I'm sure.
Yeah. There's been analysis, you know, we have access to the MLS data from the last 5 years for the town, and the Trust for Public Land and Nature Conservancy and Scenic Hudson have been working in an advisory capacity to the town. And they've done some analysis of those numbers to advise on, you know, on how to set up this potential mechanism down the road, but I don't think a decision has been made about the actual numbers at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. And that won't be part of the plan, that decision.
Okay. You should just be ready with some examples, because otherwise people are going to jump to conclusions.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, we're really introducing the plan and what the plan is. Yeah. Any other questions?
I'm happy to hear it's moving forward. So many things have just been stopped, and it's good that, you know, this committed group of people has continued to move it forward.
Yeah, it's amazing that it's moving forward. And I think, you know, it's largely due to Neil's leadership that he really would like to see it happen, and realizes that if we don't try to go for it right now, it could be another 10 years before we have this opportunity. You know, so he's been, you know, the driving force, I think, behind.
Every one of your team members is working their butts off.
Yes, we will have to say too. Yes, absolutely. We have a really great, very committed group of volunteers working on it, with members of the CWASP, the Historic Preservation Commission, myself, Julie, and Neil. So it's been great.
Kudos to all of you.
Thanks. So we can move along. Amanda would like to provide an update on the natural resources inventory. And I'm going to see.
How's this going to happen, Ingrid? You just going to walk out of the room or what?
No, I'm just going to, I will, I'm going to make you the host right now so that you can share your screen and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And just note that I'm recusing myself from this discussion about the natural resources inventory.
Okay. Did it happen?
So you should be, yeah. You,
because I think I can share my screen anyway, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
See if you can share your screen.
Okay, oh, and then I say share. Okay, wait. Okay, can y'all see that?
It's coming. Says Amanda started screen sharing. There we go.
Okay,
got
cool.
it now.
Okay, so just Monday I sent you guys some things to look at about the NRI. So natural resource inventory, which we got a grant from the DEC to do, with a lot of support from various entities in the town and village, not only the town and village boards and the planning boards and the historical, but also the EnCB and the EPB committed to provide some matching hours of support. So one of the ways that we can do that is that when we have these meetings and we talk about this, we can capture some time but specifically get your input. So we have a team that's been working on this. That's it's just, there's a few of you that are on that as well as on the EnCB, but I thought we could just use since the EnCB has committed, I think something like 200 hours, it's like, okay, let's see what we can do here on this. So the documents that I sent you, has everybody had a chance to look at the website that was an example of an NRI for Erie County?
A while back.
Yeah, did you, so are you seeing my screen now?
It's just showing us the outline of Nate's suggestions at the moment.
Oh, rats. I tried to switch it to a different.
You may have to do a new share if you're switching applications.
Get out. Okay. Okay, so well, all right, so let me go back to it. So I sent that to you in the email. It's a little link. If you click on it, if you haven't already and you want to see what an online example looks like, it's pretty cool because it's got these tabs at the top that allow you to move in and out of different categories of resources. And it's got text on the side that talks about each category, and it's got some lovely photos, and then the maps allow you to zoom in. You can get down even to the parcel level. So I'm sorry that I'm not doing that right now because, you know what, Ingrid, I don't know how to unshare.
If you at the bottom, so you hit share screen. If you unshare it, and then you can come back in, I believe.
So I'm on this. Okay, guys, I'm really sorry. I'm so terrible at this. Here's Zoom. Okay, well, I've totally goobered this up. Meeting controls, will that do it?
Or at the top of your screen, usually there's a little thing for like stop share, like a red.
So I got this. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. You know what? I don't know how this works. I feel like the Wizard of Oz. I don't know how it works. Okay. So if you get a chance, go take a look at the online example. But the other thing that our consultant has been working on is a draft base map, which I sent you guys to. And it's his first example of what some of the maps would look like. And this one would be kind of like the step one map. And he had these, what I am sharing with you, I do believe, is this list of Nate's suggestions. So, so Nate is our DEC project manager working with us on the grant. And so he, DEC is meant to be involved with us on this project to know what we're doing and to give us insight and suggestions and stuff. So when he looked at the map, he had some suggestions, most of which seem very straightforward, like fix the green color, darken the village boundary so you can see where it is on the town, increase the font, some really, really just pragmatic stuff, labeling a few things. So one idea he had that I hadn't thought about, but maybe this is kind of a good one, is number 2. Expand the visible area around the town border to see a little more of the resources in adjacent municipalities. Because if we don't show, for instance, the ridge, because it's not within New, is not within New Paltz, so we miss some of these like important resources that are, that people think of when they think of New Paltz, even though they may actually be just outside the town border. So I think that the idea was to try to include a little bit more of those features. And then he was suggesting to add streams and maybe add some wetlands possibly. I mean, we don't want to jump into a lot of detail. It's meant to be more of the broad picture. But if you feel that any of his suggestions are inappropriate, please let me know. If you have any suggestions after looking at the map, I thought it looked pretty good. This is going to be in the actual hard copy report. So there's the online version and there's going to be a hard copy report that's going to have a number of maps. And I did tell him I would like them to be as big as possible. I think they were going to be like 11 by 17, so that you can really take a look at these things, because now you just got a piece of paper that you can't digitally go in and look for. It's just that it is what it is. So, I know this is kind of like putting you on the spot to look at these 7 suggestions, but do any of them strike you right off the bat as being no way, or are they all just okay? Are there any others you would like to suggest?
Amanda, I had looked at the map and then I saw that list. I agreed with most all those items. I did like the idea of number 2. It struck me as a novel idea.
Yeah.
That was good.
Okay. I know Rich is staring at it very hard right now. He's one person I can see on my thingy. Okay, well, you know what? You don't have to tell me today if you haven't had a chance to think about it, but if you could, you know, if you have a few minutes to look at the map and look at these things in the next day or two, maybe let me know by the end of the week. Because the consultant's anxious to get our feedback, so he wants to start making some of the other, you know, maps, but he doesn't want to go off on a wild goose chase if we don't really like, you know, if like there's things we want to see change. So
The only thing I would say, I mean, I agree with everybody on number 2, showing, you know, kind of where New Paltz is in the bigger scheme of things. But the border for the village, is it important that the village be separated?
oh, thank you, Rich. That is an excellent question. Janelle, would you like to answer that question?
Well, for Climate Smart, we have to have a parallel process delineating the village and the town. So yes, when we submit, we have to show that we're very much submitting different reports for each. It can't just be one does it all.
So then, yeah, so then darkening that border would be good, because even, you know, obviously I grew up here, I know the town, and just looking at the map, it looks like the Millbrook Preserve is the village. You know, just
half part of it is
Yes.
actually.
no, I know, but I'm saying that one green spot kind of jumps out and almost looks like that's the village boundary.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So that
could be more
yeah.
clear.
So number 5 and number 7 both need to be addressed to fix some of that, I think. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. You know, I was waiting for someone to ask me the question, how is an NRA different from a CEA, different from a CPP? You know, all these things, like why are we doing all these kind of overlapping things? And it's, they are all related and they do all support each other. If we were doing this from, you know, like 10 years ago from the get-go, theoretically, we would have done the NRI first as the big, you know, the big picture, and then moved to these other things like the open space plan and the CEAs and the CPP coming out of it. Fortunately, we have a lot of pieces that are there, like there's already an open space plan, but none of these have everything that this one's going to have. This is going to be like the mother of all this stuff. It's going to be, I think it's going to be so totally cool that it's going to have everything. Okay, now so I sent you the other thing, which was the DEC guidance. It's got all the categories that are going to be in there. And of course I can see it, but you cannot. Why am I not? Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Okay. I think I now got it. This one. Sure. Huh. Okay, now can you, is it coming?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So all of these categories are going to be like our tabs, and then have or maybe some of these sub tabs are going to be in there too. But these are all things that pretty much, with the exception of under habitats and wildlife, there's coastal and shoreline habitat. That's not, you know, here, but everything else is here. We have these things in New Paltz, and so we want to talk about all of those and talk about, you know, what they mean to New Paltz, where they're located, and you know what's special about them. And the only thing that I would maybe add to this, and I guess the place to put it might be under cultural resources, because it's not pulled out specifically, is scenic view sheds. And the reason I'm saying that is because I think that's a characteristic of New Paltz that a lot of people value and recognize and comment on. You know, it's
True.
Partly it's historic, partly it says scenic resources. But I think that's what we need to, like, you know, make sure that we capture that. We have a scenic byway, we have these, you know, but there's some places where you just stop, you know, you're like when you hit the bridge and there's the flats, it's just like, and you know, the ridge is like, oh my God, this is
Amanda,
this is New Paltz. Yeah.
we actually, for the CPP, we updated a scenic resource inventory that was included in the 2003 open space inventory.
Oh, good.
So John helped us with that actually.
I bet. Oh, you mean my time? Oh.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we went out, the NRI consultant digitized the points. So the map had highlighted sections of roads, as well as had like arrows pointing in the direction of views along
Oh,
roads.
okay.
He digitized that for us. And then we went out and verified those points.
Oh, I was
And-
on that drive. Yeah, no, that
Oh,
I
good.
remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we ended up eliminating like maybe a third of them because
They weren't
either
there
they had
anymore.
been developed or the vegetation had grown up and you couldn't really see anything anymore. And we added a couple of new points and new roads. But so we have that information, but by all means, like it, you know, there may be other places that we missed. And so that, you know,
Okay.
share that with Rick. But if you want to keep working on it and see if there are other locations, it's limited to public roads, and I
Yeah.
think we added 1 or 2 spots along the rail trail as well. But
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously it needs to be public roads unless it happens to be in a preserve or something, you know, that the public
Yeah.
has access to, but yeah. So, so this is what I'm saying. This is going to be an amazing document. And by having it online, very accessible and user-friendly for people to look at, just any, you know, any kind of, even just casual look from somebody from the public or a resident who just, you know, is curious about what might be around where I live or where I like to go. I think it's going to be a really great tool. The written document is going to be a little more, it's going to be a lot more detailed and specific for use by, you know, the boards, you guys, the town board, the village board, the planning boards, and y'all, when we've got a site plan application or a subdivision application or something that we want to look at, or a developer is considering where might be the best place to do this, that, or the next thing. This information will be there so they'll know what they might be needing to take into account. And we all, you know, have this information to help us when we're doing seeker and things to know, like, what are we actually potentially impacting or whatever. So I think it's going to be super cool. So now the other thing, and this is again, we're CPP and we are dovetailing. I know that there is a Google Drive, the CPP, that has at least 50 photos, no, 90 photos on it that people just pulled from their, you know, their libraries, whatever, their files, to illustrate some of the CPP features. A lot of those could fit also in these categories. And so we need to send the consultant, our consultant wants photos, and this would be a great resource, but I don't want to just dump them on him, you know, like, and have him try to figure out what they are and where they are. So I was hoping that some people would maybe like to take a look. You know, no one has to look at all 90 photos. Somebody can just say, I'll look at the first 10 or 20 and figure out which of these categories they line up with. And I know the CPP is doing something like this, but it doesn't meet exactly all of these categories, I think. That then we can send it to our consultant so he knows what we're intending to go where. And also it'll help us find places where we maybe don't have anything. Like, I bet you there's no pictures about bedrock. You know, I mean, I'm just thinking geology and soils might be where things are a bit light right now, unless we, you know, just happen to have some of slopes or something. So, you know, just things like that. So I didn't know if anyone would want to think about doing that between now and maybe the next meeting. You know, nothing that has to be done immediately. It's something that can be added much later than the other content. But
So
yeah.
Amanda, you're saying basically view pictures and then kind of categorize them under these labels that you have here.
Right.
Yeah, I'd be willing to help out with that for sure.
Okay, that's great. Like I said, I don't expect any one person to do all of it, because I know the person here in my house that's trying to do it for CPP is not a happy camper about trying to do all of them. But because you have to, they're on a Google Drive, so you have to go and open each one to see what it is. I mean, it's got a description and stuff, but you kind of have to open it and see it. And then you would say, oh, well, I think that's a water resource. It looks like a floodplain or wetlands, or it looks like, you know, a forest or something. And then, you know, put a tag on it and save it that way so that when we send it to the consultant, he knows why we send it to him.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, Rich.
Great. So I will forward you the link to that Google Drive, and you have this, right? You have this list?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you
So-
sent it out.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, take a whack at it, and you know, after you've done it a little bit, you can get back to me, let me know how it's going. If you think it's easy, or if you're tearing your hair out. I'm not a good Google Drive person, so I don't like it very much, but other people I think are much better at it. So
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
go through some of it this weekend. Yeah.
that'd be
Thank
great.
you.
Oh, wonderful. So please let me know how much time you spend on it, because we do need to track our volunteer matching hours.
Sure.
Okay, cool. All right, so I think that's all I had on the NRI. It's moving quite along, and you know, I think we're going to have a really great product from these guys, so I'm really excited about it. Okay, thanks.
That's great. You know, if you want me to quickly share and just show that Erie County example.
Oh yeah,
Oh, can you make me the host again, next to my name in the participant list
you're really stretching my technical abilities.
on the right side of the screen, under participants,
Uh-huh.
next to my name, click more.
Okay. Oh, got it. Got it.
Yeah.
See it. There you go. Yes. Oh my gosh, we're
Thank
learning how to Zoom.
That's great. All right. Wait, let me just open up that web page and let's see. It's not identifying it. One. Here we go.
You got it?
This is so.
Yeah.
This is just an example. So they had the different themes organized, and these are called tabs across the top. And then, like, if you zoom into an area, I haven't looked at this in a while, so I can't remember exactly how it's organized by each of these data features. I guess these are, when you click on each one, it turns on the different layers. Like these are the steep slopes,
The colors
the
over there.
superficial geology. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 along the left is the different data layers. I've seen so there are other examples where it's just like a click on, click off thing. And I kind of prefer that actually to this, because this doesn't allow you to mix and match stuff.
That's true. You have to look at one thing at a time. I mean, you know, it's so hard to know like who's going to use it, how and why. That it's
Well,
really,
I think really Environmental Conservation Board and the Planning Board and the Zoning Board of Appeals are the main targets for using this, as well as project applicants,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
So you can click on the map and pull up information.
And then you can, you see the plus and minus up there. You can zoom in to get, so it gets you into, you're starting to see parcels there. It's very faint right now, if you can see it. But yeah, so I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys can all check this out later if you want. I'll stop sharing. All right. Thanks, Amanda. Ted, would you like to give an update on the landfill project?
Oh, well, I was going to do just the village update
Yes.
overall. So we had our monthly meeting, which was a Zoom meeting last night. We're at a full membership, but we had a couple of absences, but we still had a legit quorum meeting. The one of the first things we do is we talk about the planning board updates, just like we do here. And there's nothing in process right now, but the pit project, if you guys remember, has indicated its interest in moving forward. So it's not an official application. It's not they haven't made any kind of submittal, but they've notified the village planning board that they are planning to start or restart that process soon. So there's no information other than that. If it's the same or if it's different or whatnot, from there. But we'll keep an eye out for that one. We talked about plastic bags for a little bit, and it was identified that the pandemic executive orders have apparently eliminated the enforcement provisions of the plastic bag, and that was coupled with an identification that some of us have gotten plastic bags at Tops or seen plastic bags at Tops, and that's why, because of the response.
Ted, you're
muted.
muted. Ted, can you hear us?
Can't hear.
All right. How long was I out for that?
30 seconds.
Not even that long.
Did you guys talk about plastic bags? Did you hear that?
Yeah,
part?
you
Just
mentioned
started.
it.
Right at the
Yeah.
top.
Okay. All right. So plastic bags, we've seen them at Tops and a couple other places, but the law hasn't changed, but the enforcement provisions have changed, that they're not enforcing it during the or as part of the reactions to this. Residential trash, there was a discussion before any of this started to go awry about a field trip to the to Albany, and that was postponed until further notice. Was canceled. And then B City, Rachel talked about efforts to beautify the village hall and her own beekeeping items, but it said that nothing had moved forward on the actual Bee City status for that. Composting, then we've got two new members, Fiona and Annabelle. Annabelle's the high school student, and they gave a real good update on efforts they're making to introduce more composting opportunities in the village and the town. So we'll encourage them to keep working on that. Items of old business, we talked as a board how no one at the state level or county level appears to be doing anything with idling laws. So we thought, as from a village standpoint, it was a good thing for us to dive deeper into try and make some changes or updates, because it doesn't appear that we would upset anybody else, by doing that or interfere with other efforts that are going on. So I think that is something that we'll continue to look at from a village standpoint. We, as a funding mechanism, we approved $250 being spent for sustainable green type plantings for the front of the village hall as part of that effort. Our meetings will continue to be on the second Tuesday of each month at 6:30, which would be June 9th is the next one. And then the last thing, which would dovetail into or transition into the topic that Ingrid brought up, is we did talk about an update with the solar panel project for the town landfill. And the update was there hasn't been any movement. The HESP, the chosen contractor, is reviewing the agreement provisions that the town had redlined, the attorneys had looked at and submitted, had gone back to HESP. So I think, and Ingrid, I didn't put in writing yet, but you had asked for an update. There was a news article a couple of weeks ago in the news online version that talked about the town moving forward. It was, we'll say, aggressive, an article, we'll say at that, because it's not really moving at all. At this point, it's still working through the agreement language. We do anticipate talking with HESP soon. They're still under the directives of presenting two proposals to the town, one that involves just the landfill and one that involves a larger solar panel installation, which would include areas next to the landfill. The town board will make the decision based on the agreements and recommendations that the solar group presents.
Yeah, one of the unfortunate things about that article is it was worded something like further details have not been released, implying that we're withholding information. In fact, it's not been released because it's not known. I mean, it's in process. So that was an unfortunate word choice by the writer.
Well, thanks for those updates.
Yeah, it's the update for the village board. That includes the solar project at the landfill.
Great. Any questions?
Janelle, do you want to, the idling thing, do you want to, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not.
I made a note to myself to reconnect with you, Ted, and your students on that, because that was something that we tried to do a few years back as part of the Climate Smart process, because you can get a point maybe on that. And I did have a SUNY student that started to work on it a little bit, but then semester ended and it kind of dropped off the map. So that would be good to follow up with.
Don't we have an example of one from
Yes,
Westchester someplace?
Yeah. Remind me, Ted, what are those students that are the Fiona and?
Well, that's
composting.
That's composting. Yeah.
Okay. And who are the students that are interested in the idling law?
It's purely a board effort.
The
so
board
I would
effort.
say it's,
Okay.
I'd say it's Alex, the liaison to the village board. And then, really we brought it up, we discussed it last time. I asked for volunteers, much like Ingrid does sometimes, and didn't get an overwhelming response. So I said, we'll all think about it. And at the June meeting, we'll have some people step forward and volunteer.
So how about if I send then more information? So
that'd be great. Yep.
Should I send that to you, Ted, to forward, or who would be the person that would
fine.
distribute
go
it?
ahead. No, go ahead and send it to me.
Okay.
We talked about a pretty straightforward process. We would review and collect all of the written laws and regulations on the village code. Look at those.
Great.
And then find out what kind of updates could or should be made, and then make a recommendation to the village board.
Okay, I'll forward those.
Great.
Oh, Ingrid, did you want me to jump in with the rest of the Climate Smart stuff?
Yeah, please.
Okay, great. So I'm really glad that we got that bronze certification done before COVID started, because now it's slowly plodding. So I still have silver in our sights, but it's probably gonna take longer given the current pace. So thank you, Amanda. You've already updated on where the NRI is at. Amanda and I continue to work on the climate action plan through regular meetings with ICLEI, online with several other communities, well, a number of other communities all over the country, actually. So it's a little overwhelming to try to take that to the next level, but it's on our radar and something that we're working on, the climate action plan. And Ted covered the solar at the landfill. We're still hoping that ultimately will be something that we're able to accomplish. Community solar is an issue that was recently discussed. We had a Zoom meeting with a number of people who were interested, with one of the CCA Hudson Valley Energy person, Jeff Demansky, just to better understand one aspect, which is that it is possible to couple CCA with community solar. And in fact, many communities around the area have done that, and actually have collected pretty good sustainability funds. Could I share a slide? Can you, Ingrid, can you allow me sharing capabilities? And I just want to show you a slide that kind of exemplifies that.
I don't think you have to make her the host. I think you just have to allow her to share.
Sorry, this meeting is configured so that
Oh,
only the
okay.
host can share.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, now you are.
okay, great. So hit share and get to that page. There's actually two things I want to share, so this is good. So you can all see this slide that says community CCA and community solar.
Not yet.
Oh, not yet.
It's just a white, blank white.
Gosh darn, it's not sharing in the usual way. All right, well, I'll just talk through what the slide says. So this again is from Jeff Domansky, and it's showing, it's got a list of all the communities: City of Beacon, Town of Clinton, Village of Cold Spring, Town of Fishkill, Marblekill, Town and Village of New Paltz, Town of Phillipsburg, City of Poughkeepsie, and Town of Red Hook. And what it shows is how some of the communities, like it takes the example of Town of New Paltz and Village of New Paltz. Town has accrued $800 in their what's called the sustainability fund, and the village has accrued $400. Under chosen project, it just says to be announced, so we've not earmarked that for anything. But take the example of City of Beacon. They have enrolled 203 people in community solar, and so they have a fund of $10,000, $10,150, and they're earmarking it for local schools. Town of Marbletown has 8,300, and they're earmarking it for a local walk and bike project. Phillipstown for refrigerant management, more than $7,000. So the point is that if New Paltz, town and village, would designate what they want as a chosen project and start to do a kind of community outreach to explain to people, you know, that community solar is an option and why, then that's going to really build this fund and be funds that we can earmark for a particular project. And so I thought it might be good just to talk to you all as part of the EnCB to see what you might consider to be a project that would be worthy. And it has to be something, you know, we're not talking millions here. You can see the range was more along the lines of, you know, 8,000-9,000 potentially. Any thoughts on that offhand? The aspect, some people are confused about community solar in that it definitely can be coupled with CCA. I wish I could share the slide because this would make it so clear. I don't know why it won't work. Jeff talks about it. It's like you have two columns, and on the CCA side, you can either get your electricity supply from Central Hudson or any third-party supplier, any ESCO or CCA. And on the second side, one from each column, solar, you can either choose to have no solar at all, just don't think about it, or solar on your property, or community solar. So you get to pick one from each column. So like the most, the greenest would be CCA and either community solar or solar on your roof. And I think a lot of people are very confused about this and don't understand that they have the option of community solar, and it reduces their bill by 10%. So I'd like to start to think about trying to expand the level of understanding of community solar in New Paltz and get more people to sign up. The thing I think that also another level of confusion is that with community solar, if they sign up for the one affiliated with Hudson Valley Power, that's how we get the money into the sustainability fund. They could pick another community solar though. Some of them offer other kinds of rewards. And what we don't want to do is get in the business as Tim and Neil have felt of promoting a particular community solar. But you know, just to get the awareness there so people know that is an option, and it could be a money saving option as well as doing the right thing. So maybe just earmark it for something to think about further. You know, what might be a project that if we had funds, we could do that's sustainable, environmental. I guess moving on from there.
Janelle, can you unshare your screen?
Oh, it's because it's still just showing a whiteboard, huh?
Yeah.
I certainly will. A lot of good that did. So other items, we have our Climate Smart Book Club, which has continued to be a positive thing. We're getting a lot of people participating. The next book that we're looking at for month of May 19th is our next Zoom book club meeting, is the Drawdown book. And people that don't want to buy the book can just use the website, and rather than feeling overwhelmed by reading the entire book, because it's got a lot of content, we're suggesting that people just pick a couple of the drawdown actions that most interest them. And our online discussion will be about, you know, which actions feel doable in this area. Then we have continued to have our monthly meetups via Zoom. The last that we had was on climate smart investing. And the presenter is Tom Conrad, and he did a really good job presenting it. And he also is going to present for us next month is June 2nd. And it's on 100% renewable, how to, you know, structure your life in your house so that you are 100% renewable. And so that's going to be the next one. So we've continued to have quite a broad swath of people that are involved with those. And it's not the same group of people. Like the Climate Smart Investing, we had people, because it is on Zoom now, we had people from California and even, I think, Spain or something through Tom Conrad's connection. So it was nice to have broader impact. Then lastly, I wanted to tell you about, I forgot to mention another book. Backing up to Climate Smart, the book club. The book for June may have an interest to the EnCB members. It's called Nature's Best Hope. And then the byline is a new approach to conservation that starts in your yard. And the author is Douglas Talame. And it's kind of the concept, you know, how we're losing our pollinators so badly in this country, and how the impact on our national parks is problematic, but how everybody in all their yards started really treating their yards as mini little conservation areas. It really would be impactful to the country. So I reviewed the book before I recommended it for the book club, but I think it's good and would recommend it. So maybe I could just put in the chat for you guys that title again. So if anyone wants to check it out. And that is, I'm sorry, I don't have the date on that book club meeting, but that will be in June. So did I catch everything? I think I did. Yep.
You know, I'm a biodynamic beekeeper. And Rudolf Steiner wrote about making your yard an ecosystem as a part of the larger ecosystem in the 1920s. Trying to follow his teachings in my yard.
Yes.
So it's interesting that the idea comes out now again.
Right.
I'd like to read the book because I can compare it to Steiner's biodynamic principles.
Yeah, I wonder if that's even referenced in the book. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have forgotten his writings, and he did many lectures on bees. But the biodynamic agriculture is really the offshoot of his philosophy of anthroposophy. I'd like to give a Bee City report. I was caught, you know, in the pandemic mode, and nothing can get done because you can't go see people. Because I was going to try to see Neil to see. I don't know exactly what the town wants, and so I don't know what I'm shooting for. According to the Bee City people, you just need to send the resolution in, passed by somebody, and you get the designation. So I'm in the Ulster County Beekeepers Club, and Emily Prudoff from the college is also in it. I can't remember the name of the company she started, but she started a company of beekeeping stuff with somebody else. And we met this week, and because this is the last week of the semester, we're definitely waiting for the semester to end. And after the semester ends, she's going to help me write a pollinator-friendly plan for the town and the village. And she helped write the pollinator-friendly plan for the college. So, so I think that if we combine with the college and write a plan similar to the one that the college made, maybe that will suffice to get the resolution passed. I tried to get businesses to sign a petition, and we got, at the last regatta, we got like 50 people to sign a petition saying they wanted us to be a bee city. But there was no regatta this year. And so that, you know, we're stymied by a whole lot of stuff, like everybody else. But it's not like it's dead. It's not dead. We're still on their list. There's still no one in New York State who has the designation other than the college, no other town or city. And so we could still be the first ones. The Garden Club did send Neil a letter. When Gray Rice and I did a presentation to the Garden Club last year, they sent a letter to the town saying that they support us becoming a bee city. So we've made little progress, but it's, you know, it's stop and go, stop and go. I think working with Emily is going to help get things going. And Rachel didn't know that I was doing that. She's got a different agenda anyhow. So that's my report on that. But I just want to, I think I want to go to the next book club meeting, Janelle. So let's keep in touch. We both play the saxophone in the Tin Horn Uprising, and we're all losing our lips because we can't rehearse. No chops. I've got no chops anymore.
Oh, I'm terrible. I haven't been playing at all.
Thanks for all of those updates. I wanted to return just to one administrative question, which is our March 13th meeting minutes, which I know, Ted, you need to unmute yourself. Someone from the village took those minutes. Have you made any progress on tracking down who?
We did identify last night who had taken the notes. It's Fiona, so she was going to send them to Ariana, and then Ariana was going to send them to me or to you or both of us.
Okay.
To get them to us. I think I don't think there'll be much difference, but you know, she had taken the notes from the perspective of the Environmental Policy Board. But I think they can. I mean, she was aware that they were going to be used for both purposes, so I'm hoping that they'll be in good shape.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Then
we'll bring those up for vote at the next meeting. So our next meeting is scheduled for June 10th, and is everyone okay with sticking with this meeting time? 7:30. Yep. Okay. So Neil has set up these video conferences for us with the YouTube streaming for the rest of the year, pretty much. So we can just see how things go, and if we feel like, you know, we don't need to meet every month, then we can cut back on meetings. But let me know what you think. I think with there are a bunch of things that are happening right now, so I think it would be good to try to meet regularly, at least until the community preservation thing is moved further along.
So Ingrid, are you still meeting? Is that the community preservation thing still also meeting on Wednesday, but earlier?
We're meeting the first and third Wednesday at this point. I mean, we're meeting every 2 weeks, so it's flipped over to the first and third Wednesday.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, and the next meeting will be the 20th.
The 20th. Okay. I just need to remind John, who did not hold a COS meeting tonight, but obviously I would have a conflict, but you know, not the end of the world because he's got to do what he's going to do. But, okay.
Yeah. And then just 2 announcements that the Wallkill River Summit is being held online. The first session was last night, and there's another session on June 8th. And we have a webinar about a new data set called the Forest Condition Index on May 20th, which is really cool. It's a really cool data set that allows you to see how forests compare across a number of different metrics related to ecological value and health. And so that's an opportunity for some training.
Remind me what that date was. I mean, that was the 20th, but what time?
That's at
The
noon.
forest?
That's part of the Conservation and Land Use 101 webinar series. which you probably get the announcements from Nate Nardi Cyrus.
Right. Unfortunately, I didn't write it in my calendar, and that looks like a good one.
They are recorded, so you can always go back and listen to them later on.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of it, for training, if you are interested, they're all on our website. So, okay. Any other announcements or thoughts people want to share right now? Yeah. Call it a meeting.
You know, I just wish the people that won't wear the masks and that think in other states they can just go lollygagging around could hear what some of you guys said here tonight.
Yeah, it's
and just realize how this is. It's
right.
real. Yeah, it's real.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The signs that they put on the rail trail were really nice. People were knocking them over. I mean, and you know,
Intentionally?
Yeah, the signs will please be considerate, wear a mask. And you can't really socially distance if you're going by somebody on the rail trail. It's too narrow. So
I just turn my back to them. I have my mask on, but I turn my back.
I make believe I'm shielding myself, you know, just to show them, you know, I'm an at-risk person. I'm old, so I don't know, you know, what other way to put it. It's a consideration for other people, and we have a very inconsiderate society right now.
Yeah.
True.
I wonder whether Mohonk Preserve is going to continue to stay closed.
Yeah.
Well, I think they are because of the crowds. I mean, I was at Minnewaska today. They had cones blocking off every other parking space. But by the time we left, people were moving them. And then there was a ranger at the gate just saying the parking lot's closed. No one could come in. So there's that, you know, the weather gets nice. People are tired of being cooped up. They want to go, and
yeah,
it's too crowded at the choke points of the parking lots and the trail, you know, the entry points. So
Yoni?
I have some friends who are connected with Mohonk, and as I understand it, as of the 15th, they're going to have a meeting, and it looks like the position is that people who are members of the preserve will be able to access Mohonk shortly after the 15th.
That's good.
No day passes.
Only members, not
Mhm.
anybody else.
Not day passes. Yeah.
Did they talk about the golf course at all? That's my selfish concern.
Yeah, the parks have been jammed. I've never seen those parking lots so full.
Yeah, Minnewaska on the weekends basically closes at 9:30. I mean,
yeah,
you just got to get up there first thing.
Yeah, it's too bad they're so attractive to so many people from all over the place because the locals can't even get in.
And a lot of their trails are really narrow. I mean, it's not like the rail trail where you can even get 5 feet apart. They're very narrow. So.
I kind of wonder what the exodus from New York City will mean for our board's work and your board, Amanda, in the coming year, months. I mean, I don't know how quickly activity will pick up necessarily, but it seems like there's certainly lots of people who want to move up here right now.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
It's not just the trails too. New York Times had a great article on Sunday saying, you know, everything's going to be closed in New York City. So it's up to you upstate to have the arts and all your, so we're going to be packed.
Well, you know, the thing is coming up here, when you want to go into an enclosed movie theater or concert space here either, I mean, it's still the same problem. So.
Right.
We need a vaccine.
Well,
Move to adjourn.
yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Stay safe,
Second it.
everyone.
Second.
Good all see you.
So Ted made a move to adjourn, and I'll say Yoni seconded it, and then meeting adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
And thank you, Kenji, for taking minutes.
Yeah, thank you.
Janelle, call me.
Janelle, you
I
need to
will.
end the meeting now because you're
Oh,
the
that's
host.
right. Okay. I'll end the meeting. Bye. And I'll call
Bye.
Amanda.